Back from the cinema to see How to Train Your Dragon 2025 in 3D. Went to the cinema with LaJess, and we watched it last night. And I'm going to give you her scores and everything near the end, so don't go away. And I'll give you my scores near the end too. LJ, I had to pick up a cup too. It's a little different than your cup, but I had to get mine. Is cool. My dragon comes off. Isn't that cool? It's part of a kid's pack. Isn't that awesome? All right, so I really enjoyed that. I really did. A little more notes here about the movie. It's 8.1 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database, 98% on the popcorn meter, and Rotten Tomatoes, 77% on a tomato meter. Directed by Dean Du Bois, okay, and it stars Mason Thames as Hiccup. He also starred in a movie, I think it was The Black Phone. Anyway, he auditioned for this in London, waited 2 weeks, never heard anything, and then Dean called him up and said, hey, how about, would you like to play Hiccup? And he got so excited, he jumped straight up out of his chair and broke a lamp over his head, or knocked it off his desk, I don't know, but I know he got so excited he broke a lamp. You got Nico Parker as Astrid. The lovely Nico Parker. She's absolutely adorable in here. She absolutely knocks it out of the park as Astrid. She does a really, really good job, as well as Mason Thames knocking it out of the park for Hiccup. You also got Gerard Butler coming back as Stoic, which is great. You get to hear the same voice and everything. This is an actual storyboard, scene for scene, dialogue repeat of the first one that was animated. So there's nothing new here. So don't expect anything new here. Now, they had to add some extra scenes, you know, they had to stretch some things out, I guess. You could call this maybe the director's cut since he directed the first one and he's here directing this one. But this is a half hour longer, so they stretched out a few scenes and put a few extra things in there. But other than that, the story, the plot, everything's exactly the same. There's no difference at all. John Powell returns to compose the music, which is fantastic because the music in the original was great, and an animated version, and in this one too. This is filmed in Northern Ireland and the Faroe Islands. There's actually an island out there, Faroe Islands, that Burke is kind of modeled after. I'll throw a picture of it there. And it's also filmed in some of the Titanic studios in Belfast. It's one of the largest studios in the world where they filmed the Titanic in Belfast. And also they put his village there. They filmed his village there as well. Okay, so what do you got here? Like I say, you got an exact replica of the first one. However, these real people actors, you get that emotional aspect on the faces. You get that father-son connection. You get the you know, it's all about the heart. You get the heart there with the dragon and what he feels for Hiccup. And I'm sure you know the plot. You got Burke, this island of Burke, and I'm not going to try to spoil anything for you. And they're being attacked by dragons all the time being attacked. And what it is they're fighting for their survival, and so are the Vikings are in their survival. And Stoic, the father, he's always been a fighter, and he's always wanted his son to grow up to be a dragon killer. And he sneaks out at night. He designs his own weapon. He's just a kid. He's 15 years old in this movie, and so is Astrid. And he comes up with a weapon, and he managed to take down a dragon that nobody's ever seen. Okay, and he makes friends with it, and now he's got to convince his father. His father wants him to continue to be a dragon killer, but he doesn't want to do it. All right, and then it leads to an epic battle. And I'm not going to tell you any more about the movie, but I'll tell you there's a heartfelt family thing going on here as well. Let's talk about the 3D now, because that's what it's all about, 3D. The 3D is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And, you know, I watch most of my movies here at home, right here in my home theater. So to get out in the cinema, it's very rare that I get to get out with the passive glasses. You know, I have active glasses. These are passive. There's no power in them. There's no batteries or anything like that. So it's an entirely different visual experience for me to get out. I will say this. I thought that the 3D was very good. A lot of depth. I agree with LJ Draco. 80-20. 80% depth, 20% pop. You're going to get the flames coming out. You're going to get the ashes floating in the theater. You're going to get all that stuff. You're going to get some tail sticking out. Sometimes there's people that are standing outside the screen. You're going to get dragon snoots coming out of the screen like that. You're going to get a lot a lot of epic battle scenes, and a lot of it happens fast. You know, and it's kind of inherently dark because, you know, let's face it, most of this movie happens at night anyway, or in the dark. So it's kind of inherently dark, and you're going to get a lot of stuff flying out at you. You're going to get that. You're going to get it, but it happens quick. I wish some of it was in slow motion or something to kind of slow it down, because it's real fast. I mean, but I did jump back a couple of times. Okay, so listen, I don't want this to be too long, but I do want you to get out there. I want you to go see it, and I want you to see it in 3D, because there's no other way to watch this but in 3D. It's absolutely fantastic. It is magical. I will say it's an absolute magic. Okay, so let's see what LaJess had to say about this. So LaJess gave for the movie itself, she gave it 5 out of 5 stars. She said it was an epic story. You just can't take away from that. Now here's a surprise for me. Now LaJess said the 3D was 3 out of 5 stars. She says that they missed a lot of opportunities, and that it is real 3D. That's the type of 3D. It's called real 3D. But she still felt that they could have done a lot more. And I do agree with her. There are some scenes in there, especially these floating dandelion things and things like that, that they could have really pushed that out of the screen, and they didn't. And I do think that a lot of it happens really fast. And they did miss a lot of opportunities. I agree with that. So what am I going to do with it? I'm going to give it 5 for the movie, and I'm going to give it 4 stars for the 3D. I thought they could have done a little bit more with the pop-outs and things like that. And to me, the color was a little muted, and it was a little dark. Now, that could just be my theater. I don't know. But that's what I'm giving it. I'm going to give it 5 for the movie, 4 for the 3D. So get on out there and see this. You won't be disappointed. All right? So what did you think? Did you see it? Did you see it in 3D? Did you see it in 2D? Leave some comments below and let me know. How does this compare to the first one? Like LJ Draco said, I could watch these back to back. I could watch the animated, and I can turn around and watch this. I'm going to get the same wonderful effect from it. But they're both different, and they're both great. All right, so leave some comments below. Let me know. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hope to be doing a lot more reviews. I want you to stay safe. Have a good night. As always, God bless.